The Justice Department revealing information about the government's use of secret cell phone tracking devices and launching a wide-ranging review into how law enforcement agencies use the technology. WSJ's Devlin Barrett joins us now from Washington, D.C. with the details. Hi, Devlin. Give us a quick overview, if you would, of how these scanning devices work. What were they first designed to do, and how have they evolved?
Well, they were first built as essentially spy tech, which was to hunt terrorists and spies overseas. And the way they work is it's a device that acts as a fake cell tower. It makes all the phones in its range think that the device is actually a cell tower. So all those phones send their identifying information to the device. And what happens is, once the device finds the phone it's looking for, it hones in on that phone and can give the investigator a pretty precise location for where that phone is. And usually, if you find the phone, you find your suspect. But this technology has evolved quite a lot, and it's spread quite a lot. And now they use it in airplanes, which can scan tens of thousands of phones at a time. And they also have it with a lot of police departments around the country who use it for a lot of things, not spy cases at all, but pretty routine, in some cases, cell phone thief cases. And so now there's a lot of questions being raised about how the technology is used and if there are enough safeguards in place.
And so is this increased use by local police behind some of the concerns we're seeing from lawmakers?
It's certainly generating some of those concerns, and where you're starting to see that is in trials, because from time to time you'll see a case where one of these things was used, and under the police department's own rules, they're not allowed to tell anyone about it. They're not allowed to say anything in court about it. And there's this tension that now exists between the secrecy that is directed at them by the FBI. The FBI insists that they not talk about it to anyone unless they specifically authorize it, and judges and, in some cases, lawmakers and other elected officials and privacy advocates certainly, who say, no, if you're going to use this to put people in jail, you need to tell people what you're doing. Because
we should point out these scanning devices also pick up information from everyone's phones, correct? I mean, it's not just the suspects.
Well, right. The device works essentially like this. It scans all of the phones in its range, and it checks the ID of all of them. It's like a little digital ID check of all those phones. Now, if you're just an innocent person who happens to be near a suspect at a time when cops are using this, all that might mean is your phone, you might drop a call, or you might not be able to use every feature of your phone right at that moment, but then the machine sort of goes on its way and drops your phone, and you're gone. But that's not a nothing event. Some privacy advocates say that's essentially a dragnet, and if you're conducting dragnets of everyone's phone on a regular basis, that's something that should be overseen by the court and the public should know more about.
Okay, so how much transparency are we likely to get as a result of this growing pressure? I mean, couldn't information revealed give future criminals clues about how to defeat these devices?
Well, exactly, and that's always been the concern. The concern has always been that if you actually put into court exactly how they work, criminals will eventually figure out, well, I know what to do to beat it. And they don't want to lose what they call a very effective tool at finding criminals. So what's been described to me is they want to raise the curtain very slowly. Now, that's not going to sit well with the civil liberties groups, and that may not sit well with some judges, depending on how this goes. But what's been described to me is a slow, careful process in which, in individual cases and possibly in some hearings in Congress, they're willing to say a little bit more. And you're seeing it already. In the comment for this story was the first time I think the Justice Department has ever actually admitted they exist. And so admitting they exist is the first step.
And in your story, you say the FBI has also started asking for warrants for the first time before using this technology.
Right. For years, the FBI did not get search warrants to use this technology to hunt suspects. I'm told that in recent months that changed, and they now use warrants in a bunch of situations, although there are still exceptions even to that warrants rule. And part of what's happened as this technology has developed is that different law enforcement agencies have different rules. And I think what DOJ is trying to figure out is, let's create some basic legal standards for how we're going to do this that applies more generally.
All right, Devlin in D.C., thank you so much for that.
Thank you.